These are voting districts. Notice the jagged edges? Aren't quite sure why one district has been separated from the other? Welcome to the wonderfully strange and deeply controversial world of gerrymandering. Today, we're going to explain gerrymandering, starting with a brief history of it, then we're going to ask why it happens in the first place, how it works, before talking about its consequences and controversies, and some solutions to these issues. But before we start, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a new upload. Gerrymandering is when politicians redraw voting maps in a way that gives their own party an unfair advantage. The term dates back to 1812, when Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry approved a district shaped so oddly that a local newspaper said it looked like a salamander, and so the term Gerry-mander was born. 2 centuries later, it's still about. Populations can go up and they can go down. People can move. This is an extreme example, but let's say that in a random country, most of the population lives in the main city, and so almost all of the voting districts are there. Then there's a natural disaster, let's say an earthquake, making the city uninhabitable. Everybody moves out of the city, into the rural areas. If the electoral maps didn't change, all of the voting districts and all of the seats and all of the power would be in the city, which wouldn't be very fair because now everybody lives in the countryside, in these rural areas. As a result, electoral maps have to be redrawn regularly. For example, in America, it's usually every 10 years after a census, which is a government count of how many people there are in each state and where they're living. In most states in the USA, and in certain countries across the world, the people who get to draw electoral maps are the same people running for re-election. It's like letting the players of the game write the rules of the game, and surprise, surprise, they tend to write themselves a win. Imagine you have 100 voters. 50 vote purple, 50 vote green. In a fair system, you'd expect each party to win about half of the seats. But with clever map drawing, you can create districts that pack your opponents into a few super safe seats, while spreading your supporters across more seats to win a supermajority of them. This is called packing and cracking, which are the main 2 gerrymandering techniques, often used together. Let's zoom in to see how these methods work. Packing is where you cram as many of the other party's voters as possible into a single district. In this example, the one purple district will be heavily in favour of purple, but since you've packed all of these purple voters into that one district, it reduces their influence in the remaining 3 other districts, meaning green wins them. Cracking is when you split opposing voters across districts so that they can't form a majority anywhere. In this example, the fact that purple cannot form a majority in any of the districts means that green wins all of the 4 seats, yet purple has got about half of the votes. Packing and cracking allows politicians to choose their voters, instead of the way it should be, with voters choosing their politicians. It's pretty unfair. So how do politicians know which groups to pack and which groups to crack? Detailed data about voters' political preferences allows map drawers to draw districts with high levels of accuracy. As map drawers get more of this personalised data and sophisticated mapping technology improves, gerrymandering is only going to increase in places like the US. Gerrymandering can lock in political power for years, make elections less competitive, and leave voters feeling like their vote doesn't matter. And because these weird, almost nonsensical districts are often designed to capture or exclude certain demographics, it can dilute the political voice of certain racial and ethnic groups, which has been challenged in the court in recent years. Some countries and states use independent or bipartisan committees to draw districts based on geography, not politics. Others set strict rules for size and shape, or use mathematical tests to spot unfair maps. So, next time you see a district that looks like a dragon chasing its tail, you know it's not just bad cartography, it's politics. If you liked my video, please hit the bell icon so that you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching.